everybody. Today is a super interesting video, whether it turns out or not, because I'm going to be attempting to film a bookshelf tour, and I've never done a video where I'm moving the camera and editing stuff like that. It can't be that hard, but we will see, and I hope you guys enjoy it, because I know bookshelf tours are one of my favorite things to watch. So let's go. Here is a quick overview of all three of my shelves, and then we'll go in depth. So starting off at the top of my big white bookcase, I just have a Toothless Build-A-Bear that I got a little while ago, and then a cute little treasury of Tales from Beatrix Potter, and then next to that is the Tolkien treasury. And then I have the top of a little fantasy decor piece, a little candle, and this little cute feather that I found on a walk. Here's a close-up of the feather. It's really cool looking, and it looks really rough because baby just loves to play with it. And then the painting at the top is something my mom painted a little while ago. And then here are the books from the Tolkien treasury, but more in depth, starting with Rover Random. These books have such pretty covers. And then there's Smith of Wootton Major, and then arguably my favorite, Farmer Giles of Ham. And then finally, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, and these are so pretty and I really love having them. So here's a quick overview of my first shelf, which is my fantasy shelf. So here is the first shelf, and I will say my shelves are going to look dusty because I haven't dusted in a while. But yes, this is my fantasy / random little section, and I will start with the trinkets. This is my little 3D printed dragon. The top of it was on the top of this bookshelf. I call it Saphira from the Eragon book. And then this little guy was given to me. He's very interesting looking. I call him Parshendi because that's what he reminded me of. And then you will see these throughout the bookshelves. These are warrior minifigures from the Warrior Cat series that I have unholy amount of, so they will be practically on every shelf. And then I just have a little candle and this little German Shepherd that I don't even remember where I got it from. But starting over here, I have my Brandon Sanderson Store My Archive books, and I know they are in the wrong order, but I didn't like the look of the two tiny ones and then the giant one, so the third one and then the first one and second one. And then we have Eragon by Christopher Paolini, and then The Prince Warriors, which is these four by Priscilla Shire, and then Wistress by Nadine Brands, and then my little Alyssa J. Zavalanos section, which is Earth Treader, Unearth the Tides, Oleferous, Endlewood, and From the Mountains to the Valleys. Then I have my two precious Gateway Trilogy books by Crystal D. Grant. I literally am so excited for the third one, which is coming out in the fall of this year. And then, yeah, more warrior minifigures, these two. And then this is my random section. I have this older, let me get it out. This is an old poem collection and it's got writing from 1897 in it. And I have not yet read it, but I really am going to read it soon. And then I have this really cool book. It's very random, but the Book of Runes, and it's got like Viking runes and the history behind them in it. It's a very, very cool book. And then this one, I got this for the purpose of practicing my book rebinding, because that's something I want to do. And I wanted to do it on a book where if it didn't work and I messed up, I wouldn't be super sad. But if it did work, I would still be interested in reading it. So this is the Fairy Queen, books 1 to 3 by Edmund Spencer. And this is like a giant poem about Queen Elizabeth I. So that is only here for practicing purposes. That concludes the first shelf, and we will move down to one of my favorite shelves. I just redid them like 2 nights ago because I got more books, even though I said I wasn't going to. But I'm not mad about it because they were books on my Barnes & Noble list, and I just got them for cheaper, which is always an amazing deal. And if the light has gone dimmer, it's because this big boy is currently sitting on the window. This is Mudgy, and as you can see, he is very large, so that is why the light might be dimmer. Here's a quick overview of my next shelf. Okay, so this is my next shelf, which is my classic shelf. All my classics used to be on this shelf. The shelf next to it, which is smaller, the bottom two rows, but I got more. So I decided to try and put them all together on one of my bigger shelves. But I will start with my little trinkets. This is Michelangelo's sculpture of Moses that I got at the thrift store, and I thought it was really, really cool. So that sits over here. And then this is just a candle with this wooden bowl to catch the wax if you burn it. I kind of use it as a bookend to keep these 3 books up. And then finally, this is actually a bookend, but I just haven't found the right place for it. So it just sits on top over here. But I'll start over here, and these are my playbooks, which is only 3. But I have Shakespeare Volume 1, The Plays of Anton Chekhov, and Greek Plays in Modern Translation. I've only read one of these, but I am excited to read more. And then these I got 2 days ago, so they're brand new. But these are old hardboard textbooks. And the first one is a collection of the work of Homer, so it has the Iliad and the Odyssey. And then down is a collection of the works of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who was an American poet. And then this last one has The Pilgrim's Progress, as well as another story that I forgot the name of. But these are really, really cool, and these were on my list, so I'm glad that I found them for cheap at the thrift store. And then these are 1984 by George Orwell, Great Expectations, and A Christmas Carol and Other Stories by Charles Dickens. These are all unread. I will say most of my books that are unread are classics, so I definitely need to get to reading these. But then I have Little Men by Louisa May Alcott, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, and then another Harvard classic, which includes Pride and Prejudice and The Sentimental Journey Through France and Italy. Then Harper Lee's, I don't know if she's written any more books, but I have To Kill a Mockingbird, as well as Ghost at a Watchman. I'm talking really fast, but then these books are sitting on this little cardboard box I made. I originally made it for my Grimm's Fairy Tales books to sit on, but I didn't like those books, so I ended up giving them to friends. But I decided to keep using it because I do like how it utilizes the space. But these are more children's classics, so I have Stuart Little by E.B. White, The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame and Other Stories, Tales from the Arabian Nights, Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens, the 3 Pippi Longstocking books right here, then Charlotte's Web by E.B. White, Winnie the Pooh by A.O. Milne, that was not right, and then The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. And then finally, I think I need to adjust the camera a little so you can see, but these are classics to grow on, and it is a set of 4, but I'm currently reading the 4th one, which is King Arthur and His Knights, so it's not right here. But we have Robin Hood, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and the Marvelous Land of Oz, and The Last of the Mohicans. So that is my classic shelf. Well, I have more classics, but they're on a different shelf, but this is the majority of them. And I am really proud of this shelf. I think it looks pretty good. I will have to reorganize my shelves in February when I go book shopping for my birthday. And I do plan on filming a new bookshelf tour, as well as my whole room, a tour of my whole room. But yeah, and the new updated books, because I am slightly running out of space. But I'm just going to try and utilize all of the space on the bookshelves, like with the little cardboard stand. So that concludes my classics shelf. Once again, here's a quick little overview of my next shelf. I am currently sitting on the floor, so I don't know how the filming is going to turn out for this one, and the light is slightly dim. Here is my 3rd shelf, which I call my fairy tale / dystopian and sci-fi. But starting over here, we have a treasury of stories for children, and it's very cute. It's got really nice illustrations. Then we have Walt Disney's Bambi, which I need to take the price tag off of. And then this is one of my favorites on the shelf, and that's the Treasury of Classics Children's Stories. I will show you some of the illustrations in it because they're so pretty. Then I have The Secret Garden. I have 2 copies of this by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This one is illustrated, and the one that I read. And then I have this cute little teacup that is a candle, but it's a terrible candle, so I just keep it for how it looks. But here are some paperback lamplighters, which is Teddy's Button, The Giant Killer, and A Basket of Flowers. And then moving on, up here I have Fairy Tales from Around the World, volumes 1 and 2. Very beautiful books, and these are part of the Grimm's fairy tale books. But I got rid of the Grimm's books and just decided to keep these ones because I didn't like the Grimm's fairy tales. So we'll have to see if I like these ones because I have not read them yet. But then below it are the Victorian bookshelf set, which is A Time of Roses, Dear Theodora, Priscilla's Promise, and A Gift for Abigail. And then these two I'm really proud of. It's A Little Princess and The Secret Garden. And these are the Hallmark special editions, which I didn't even know Hallmark did books. But I found this one at a thrift store, and then I saw this one the other day, and I had to get it because I haven't read it. And now they match, and I really like that. And then over here, I have Mother Goose's Fairy Tales, Set the Stars Alight by Amanda Dykes, which was one of my faves. The Cottingley Secret, which I just finished, which was so good, by Hazel Gaynor. And then over here are my dystopian and sci-fi books, which I want to read more sci-fi this year, for sure. But we have The Tripods, which I don't remember the first name of this guy, but that's the 3. And then an Ahsoka book, which was really fun to read because she's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And then, of course, The Hunger Games, which I need to get A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and read it. And also the new one that is coming out this year, which will be super exciting. And then, of course, another Warrior minifigure. This one's like one of my favorites just because of how unique it is. But yes, that is my fairy tale / dystopian and sci-fi books. And then here are the illustrations from the Treasury of Classics Children's Stories. They are stunning throughout the whole entire book, and it is such a beautiful book altogether. Okay, so here is my next shelf down. Right below those is the Victorian
hard to
bookshelf
film,
collection, which is A Time of Roses,
but this is
Dear
like what I
Theodora,
call my
Priscilla's
animal
Promise, and A Gift for
genre, totally a made up
The Little
genre.
Princess and
But in the
The
back
Secret
here is a
Garden, and some
warrior
more fairy tale books,
picture
which is Mother
from like
Goose's
the
Fairy
illustrated
Tales,
book they have.
Set the Stars Alight,
And then
and
this
The Cottingley
little
Secret.
thing over here
And
is
then
something my
I have-
sister
this
made
is what
me,
I
which
call
is so
my
cute.
sci-fi
And so I
/
display
dystopian,
it
which is
here,
The
and then this is just a
Tripods
cool rock I
books,
found
which are
outside.
3, an
But
Ahsoka
all
book,
of these are the Epic
which
Order of
from
the
Star
Seven, the
Wars,
completed
and then, of course,
series.
The Hunger
Well,
Games.
she's still writing them, but this is
And then
all the books that have been
I do
published
have
so
some little
far,
trinkets, which
and they're
are like
super
this
fun
teacup, which
time.
was a candle, but
Then
it
I have the
doesn't
Green
burn well
Embers
at all.
by
But yes, that is the
I don't remember
whole
his
fairy
first name.
tale
And these are by Jenny
sci-fi and
L.
dystopian shelf.
And I don't remember this guy's first name, but I'm sure you can look it up. And then I have the first 2 books in the Redwall series by Brian Jacks. And then these are just nonfiction medicinal herb healing books that I'm reading because it is a very interesting subject. So those just sit here. And then in between I have this little... Let me get it out. It's just a... Yes, I really need all of these cats sign that works as a good divider between those 2 groups of books. But yes, these next 2 shelves are... Don't know how good the quality is going to be because I am just sitting on the floor. So, but yes, this is my animal genre that I like to call it. And it is pretty cute, turned out pretty nice. So that is that shelf. So here is the last shelf of my white bookcase. And this is my mystery shelf. But this, starting with the decor, I have had this for like 5 years. It's this really cool ceramic horse. It did have a little baby that went with it, but it broke. And then I have my little TBR jar, as well as a book stand that's too big to fit any books I have found. So it just lives here. But this series is the Anne's Quilted Mystery series, and it's pretty fun. I haven't read it in a while. I feel like I need to do a reread. Oh, I don't know. You guys haven't seen her, but this is our newest kitty. That's terrible. This is Willow. She's such a sweetheart and a cutie. Oh, and she wants to be in the video. She quite literally showed up at our doorstep, so she is now a part of the group, and she is, what do you think? The cutest little thing ever. But next to the Quilted Mystery series, I have the 39 Clues, which is, I've reread it a couple times, and it's always just a fun, fast-paced, sort of middle grade thriller. I feel like that doesn't make sense, but that's how I would describe it. And then I have the Bookmobile Mystery series by Laura Cass, and Oh, not Laura, Lori Cass, my apologies. And I think I bought them like I'm missing one of the books, bought them out of order, but that's okay because I don't think I'm going to read any more of this series, but I do like to have them in case I just want to reread and have a fun time because I honestly don't really remember too much about them. And then this book is the first in the Magical Bookshop series, which I listened to on audiobooks, but then I found the first one for cheap at a thrift store, so I just decided to get it. Because these are fun books, and they're by Amanda Flower. Oh, let me try and get that back in there. Probably gonna have to do that one off camera, because they're pretty snug. But yeah, this is the last bookshelf on the white bookcase, and these are my mysteries. Okay, so we are moving on to my third shelf, which is shorter than the rest and arguably is one of my favorites out of all of the bookcases. But at the top, in the back here, we have the box set for the Bronte sisters, cloth bound, and I just really liked how it looked, so I decided to keep it. And then my very small nonfiction, which is The Star Drive, Dewey the Cat, and the selected writings of Ralph Waldo Emerson, as well as this cute little ornament that I got. And then below, we have the Aesop's Fables, and that is the Canterbury Classic Edition. And then on display is A Fairy Friend by Susan Fullis. And then hanging off of it is this little gnome keychain thing that I made. And there is a very old copy of Anne of Green Gables hiding back there. That is why I'm learning book rebinding, because it's really beat up and I want to try and rebind it. So that is definitely a goal, and I'm not going to get it out just because I don't like handling it. Because it is falling apart a little, but it's hidden back there. Moving down, one of my all-time favorite series in the whole entire world, we have the Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter series. And finding these books online felt like the treasure hunt in National Treasure, because these were some of the hardest books to find on eBay for a reasonable price, because I don't know why you're charging $30 for a used copy of one of these books. I'm assuming that's a typo, but these are some of my absolute favorite books, and I will probably have them till the day I die. But we have another warrior minifigure, and then some of Beatrix Potter's actual works, which are super fun, as well as this really cute edition, illustrated edition of The Tale of Peter Rabbit. It's very, very cute. The illustrations are so sweet, and I'm probably gonna have to put that back off camera. But yes, that is the top and the first shelf of my middle bookshelf. Down is one of my all-time favorite shelves, and this is my special lamplighter shelves. So I will start with the little trinkets. My grandma gave this to me the day my cat passed away, so it's very sentimental and special to me. So it sits right there. Oops. And then over here, sorry for the camera shaking, is a little clay paw print that my mom and I made when my cat did pass away. So this is very, very special, and I did paint it, so it lives over here in the corner. But these are some of my absolute favorite books, and they're just so stunning. We have The Wide Wide World by Susan Warner, and then all of these next ones are by Amy Lefebvre. I'm saying that wrong. I tried looking it up to see how to pronounce it, but it wasn't very helpful. But we have The Chateau by the Lake, The Secret Bridge, Dwell Deep, On the Edge of the Moor, and The Locked Cupboard, as well as this one, which is Little Miss Moth. And she is one of my new favorite authors. If I were to pick some favorites off of this shelf, it would be The Wide Wide World as well as The Locked Cupboard. And then these two are Rosa of Linden Castle and The White Dove by Christopher von Schmid. And if you didn't know, Lamplighter is this company that takes stories from the 18th and 19th centuries and basically reprints them in gorgeous covers. And I get the subscription where you get a new book every month, and they're so worth it. Every single time, I love them so much. But yes, that concludes my second and probably favorite shelf. So next we have some my other classics. And this is once again, one of my favorite shelves. It's just so pretty. But over here we have the complete novels of Jane Austen in the Canterbury Classics, and then Little Women and other novels, which include Little Men and Jo's Boys in the Barnes & Noble Special Edition. Then we have The Clothbound of Pride and Prejudice, Villette by Charlotte Bronte, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte, and one of my favorite books ever, Watership Down by Richard Adams. And then I have this little pumpkin, which I probably need to throw away soon, because it's probably going to start getting mold. I've honestly had it for a very long time, and I'm surprised how long it's not molded. And then this little ceramic mushroom from Hobby Lobby. But yes, this is another one of my favorite shelves. Like I said, the third bookcase. The shelves are just so pretty. So, second to last shelf, on the third shelf, I have my Chuck Black books, which I will have to move them when I get his new series that was released. But we have the War of the Realms trilogy, and then the Kingdom series, and the Knights of Eritrea, which are in the same world. Then we have this little candle, and this bookend is the part of the same set that the other one on my classic shelf was. And then I just didn't know where to put these two books, but they're old copies of Joan of Arc and Robin Hood. This one's from 1940 and is really falling apart. I think this one's from 1948, and it's not falling apart as bad. The spine's a little rough, but they're just super fun. And I had to get the Robin Hood because I loved that book, and Joan of Arc is such an incredible story, and I'm really happy I own that. But yeah, this is my Chuck Black, who is one of my favorite authors. I recommend his books to literally anybody and everyone. So that is my second to last shelf, and then we will move on to my last bookcase. Okay, so down here at the bottom is my, I don't really know what to call this shelf, but we have this little ceramic mushroom, and then we have the 5 Percy Jackson books, which I read in November, and then I have my Narnia books. I know the 6th book is the wrong edition to match. I'm trying to get the camera level. Originally the 6th one was shorter, so I went on eBay and found the one that said it was the right height, but wrong edition, so that's why that one's different. And then I have these, which are really cool. They're the 1950s mass market paperbacks of Narnia, and they have the really cool old cartoony illustrations, and I really love them. But Narnia is one of my favorite series, and I just think the Percy Jackson and Narnia look good next to each other, so that's why I put them down here at the bottom, and then the mushroom just resides right there. But that wraps up my second bookcase, and we will move on to the third one. And I do have some random books that are just kind of scattered around my room, which I will show you guys. I'm gonna go into a ton of detail about this shelf because it is just the entire Warriors series, because that is the series that got me to reading. I love them so much. I wanted to collect all of them, so that was my mission for a long time. But up here we have this little plate. Rocky was my cat that passed away, and my mom gave me that for Christmas. And then this is just this cool tree made out of wire and rocks. And up here we have some more minifigures. And then these are the series. Moving down, more series and more minifigures. This is really cool though. This is one of those DIY build-it-yourself little kits. And when I tell you that this took so long, you literally had to like break and bend the wire. You had to do all the wiring so that the light would work. And the light does work, but the battery's dead, so... But it was so much fun doing it with listening to audiobooks and such. I don't know if I'll ever do one of these again, though. And then, next shelf down, we have my super editions. This one over here is probably my favorite. And then some more minifigures. And the last shelf full of books on this bookcase is the comic books, the 3-story novella books, the graphic novels, and the guidebooks. And then one more down is just a shelf full of my cat stuffed animals. But yeah, that is the whole Warrior shelf. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it is just the Warrior series. And on top, there's nothing special, just some fake vines and a little couple trinkets and such like that. But those are my 3 bookcases. Let me back up so you can see them all. those are my 3 bookcases, and I will quickly show you the books that are just sort of scattered around my room. Okay, so the quality of camera is not great. It's a little fuzzy for some reason, but this is just a shelf on the wall, and this is what I call my Tolkien shelf, which is right above my bed. And I'm sorry if you can hear that clock, but we have a plant, a little warrior minifigure, a pine cone, a picture of my cat Rocky, this cool like book opening into a real world thing, and then this is a lamp just for extra lighting if I need it while I'm reading. And then we have the first five of the Histories of Middle-earth and a paperback edition of The Hobbit, and then we have the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Beren and Luthien, Tales from the Perilous Realm, The Nature of Middle-earth, The Fall of Gondolin, The Children of Húrin, The Silmarillion, and one of my prized possessions. I will get it out in a second. And then I just have this little fairy bell and 2 minifigures. Okay, so this is a 1969 edition, a collector's edition of The Hobbit. This is the slipcover it comes in, and it's so pretty. It's got these sprayed edges, and it has illustrations. Let me see if I can find one. There are illustrations in it. Well, there's a map. Oh, there was one. There it is. There are illustrations by Tolkien throughout this, and I got this for free from my friend who works at the library. They get lots of donations of older books, but yeah, so beautiful. One of my prized possessions. And that's why I have the extra edition of the paperback, because I don't want to read this one, because I don't want to ruin the spine or anything. But yeah, that is my Tolkien shelf, and then I just have a couple more books on my various dressers. Over here is just this tall, skinny dresser I have with some plants on it, and a sign my mom made, and then the book that I have on it is the only graphic novel really that I own, and that's Pilu of the Woods by Mia K. Nagayan, and it's very cute, and it just lives there, so there's that one. And then over here on my dresser I have another prized possession, and this is an 1841 edition of the King James Bible. That's a picture of my cat. But yeah, let me show you guys the writing that's in it from 1845. And it was a gift from the person's mom and dad, and it is definitely one of my prized possessions. It's so beautiful and just such a neat thing to have. And then right here I have Mushroom Botanical Art, and I don't know how to pronounce this person's name, so I'll just sort of zoom in on it. I don't know if you can see it really well. Okay, there we go. But this has beautiful illustrations, and it was given to me, and here, let me just show you. It's got, oh my gosh, the camera's shaking, it's really bad. But it's got lots of cool illustrations, and it's definitely such a fun thing to display and look at. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I think the tour and editing turned out pretty well, especially since I don't know very much about editing. But I hope you enjoyed looking at my bookshelves with me, and I hope you have an amazing day. And a quick thank you to everyone who's been watching and subscribing. And if you have any recommendations or suggestions whatsoever about what you would like to see, any helpful tips about how to make the videos better, just feel free to leave them in the comment section. But once again, thank you so much, and goodbye.